And welcome everyone back to Talking with Tarashuk podcast. It is our 2023 MLB preview. I'm the biggest baseball fan there is, other than my two guests, maybe my dad. My dad's also a big baseball fan. I'm just going to hop right into it. I am joined by Mike Wilkins, a big baseball fan, as well as Allan Schoenberg, another big baseball fan, and two former guests on the Talking with Tarashuk podcast. That means this podcast can be on a sports playlist, the Friends and Family playlist, because they are returning guests, and all the other playlists found on the Talking with Tarashuk podcast. Gentlemen, welcome back. We've been playing this for about a month now. Alan, I saw your tweet about February 23rd, and I was like, uh-oh, did I miss something? And it was like February 25th.
I jumped the gun.
You did jump the gun. You were very excited, though.
I am.
Gentlemen, welcome
He's
back.
very
Good to see
excited.
you. Mike,
Yeah.
how are you?
I was surprised you didn't take me out to the ball game for your opening music. What's up with that?
That might be copywritten. Then again, the music I use might be copywritten. So
all right, we'll do a seventh inning stretch.
We'll do a seventh inning stretch because we plan on going for an hour. But Tigers and White Sox and Yankees, three very, very, very historic baseball teams. Yankees been around, one of the original teams. White Sox also formerly the Black Sox, and the Tigers always been the Tigers. Alan, when were the Tigers founded? Do you know?
What year? No, God,
Yeah.
no, I have no idea.
No idea?
I'd have to look it up. Well, before I was born.
Quick to the internet.
Before I was born.
So I mean, they have three very historic baseball teams. You both, Mike, I know you're from the Midwest.
I am actually not. I'm from a minor league town. I am from Rochester, New York, which is basically Rochester is like Detroit, only it doesn't get any of the sympathy and love Detroit gets. Rochester is truly a dying Rust Belt industrial town with no
right
love.
at home there. I'd feel right at home.
Yeah, exactly. You would. Kodak. Rochester had Kodak, like Detroit had General Motors, but it's a. So I lived there for first 18 years of my life. Lived in Chicago for 20 years after that, and that's where my baseball fandom really originates. I've always been a fan of the
General
game.
Motors is still exists, by the way.
That's true. Yeah. Well, so does Kodak in theory. I guess they're saying now that those little handheld or the disposable cameras are making a comeback. So
yeah,
that could be Rochester could turn it all
Who got
around.
you into baseball, Mike? Like there's always a family member, right? Who got you into baseball?
Yep.
Mine was my dad. My dad from birth, born in Massachusetts.
Yep.
Maybe a Yankee fan. Thanks, Dad. So who is that? Person
Wait. Your dad was born in Massachusetts.
No.
Maybe a Yankee fan?
I was born in Massachusetts. My dad was born in Summit, New Jersey. So
Okay.
yeah, that was rough. So who is that person that got you into baseball?
So it was my mom's father, my grandfather, George Roncombe, was a huge baseball fan. And I mentioned already, grew up in a minor league town in Rochester. We had the AAA affiliate of, at the time, the Baltimore Orioles, which is the other team called the Rochester Red Wings. Mm-hmm. Started going to games with my grandfather when I was probably, the first one I remember and have a program from, became a big program hog, is from 82. So I was probably 7 at that point. But he used to take me 15, 20 times a year. And really, he was only a guy, about 5'3", 5'4", little Italian guy, but had played a lot of sandlot ball growing up. And I was, as his eldest grandchild, I was the one he shared his love for the game with. So it'd go to Silver Stadium.
Nice. That's a good story.
Alan, who's your person?
My father, played baseball, played softball. I remember as a kid being a bat boy for a softball team. And then when I started playing Little League, he started coaching my team when I was, 7, 8, 9 years old. Coached me through high school. He was always on his team. And he's still coaching today. He's in his mid-80s.
Oh, wow.
Coaches, he's a third base coach, first base coach for a high school team in Utica, Michigan, and loves it. So
that's really, wow. That's so cool.
That is
he stuck with it in mid-80s.
I always joke in Shelby Township, Michigan, I'm going to go home one day and there's going to be a statue of my father in one of the parks.
Well, there should be, right?
Yeah.
You went that long with baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball is a game that, it's always with you. Baseball is always with you. I'm always thinking about baseball. I do like the off season. I don't get as many notifications on my phone for Yankee scores, but they still send me a bunch of other things I don't care about. So there's always that. Did you guys play growing up? I wasn't good.
I did.
I was not good at baseball, but I can say 12 years old, we did win it all. And I was on the mound for that last strike three. It was a ball 4, but they called it strike 3. Mounded on the mound. It would have been the greatest moment of my life at that time if it wasn't the Red Sox, and I was number 24, which in 2007, Manny Ramirez was in his prime on the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest irony of my life. I won the baseball championship when I was 12 years old, but as a diehard Yankee fan, I was Manny Ramirez's number on the Red Sox.
Nice. Did any of your family even come to the games?
Oh yeah, all of course.
Traitor.
Well, that was tough because my father was very, it was busy. He was an accountant, so he worked at 9 to 5. So, but he wanted to be involved. He never had time to head coach because he couldn't do practices and do all that stuff. But he always coached. He did the book, so he would do like the writing, like however you do the book
Keeping
for
score.
baseball,
Yeah.
keeping score. So he did that for my brother
book.
and for myself. So that season was tough because he had to go back and forth. So he was with me coaching, and like my mom would go with my brother, who would play on the night we call it the Babe Ruth League, where they played on like 90 feet, 90 feet, the full diamond. So, any childhood memories? Mike? Were you good at baseball? What position did you play?
I was a first baseman / third baseman / pitcher. I played through high school and college. I wasn't particularly good though. I was really slappy. Could always get the ball in play. And at the time I was probably about 80 pounds lighter than I am now. So I had some wheels. And I was able to, usually, run out that, swinging bunt that barely got out of the infield. But I was a decent pitcher, never threw particularly fast, but I was able to put a little motion on it. So, I definitely feel it in my elbow now, but I enjoyed my time as a somewhat mediocre baseball player.
I had one home run as we were got older. We played in Babe Ruth, and most of the fields didn't have fences, so I just dunked it down the right field line. And I was in high school. I was running track, and I just ran so fast. I remember my grandfather was there. He's like he thought I ran funny, and I missed second. I missed second base. I just ran right over it. And when I slid home, I got up. I was like, "Shit! I missed second base." And luckily, I didn't get called out. But I almost went back. But I was like, "Screw it! I'm never gonna get this chance again. I'm running. I'm just gonna go home. If I'm out, I'm out." And we're walking back to the car. My grandpa's like, "Hey, William, you missed second base, right?" I go, I know, I missed second base.
Every big moment in your career, there's like a mishap. Ball four, a strikeout, home runs, you miss the base.
I'm a clutch.
You would definitely have an asterisk next to your name in the record book, just like Roger Maris did.
Yeah. Alan, I don't know if you know this about me, but working with me for a year or so, I'm a klutz, and weird things happen to me, good things happen to me. I mean, you should know. You shouldn't be surprised by this at all, that I missed second base, my only home run.
Barry Bonds has an asterisk, so does Will Tarashuk. Asterisk career.
Exactly. Hey, you're in good company or something. Roger Maris had one, so.
He did, and luckily got that taken away. Now, last year.
He got his record taken away too, sadly.
Okay, let's touch upon that. So,
are you gonna ask me about my baseball career?
Alan,
I was going to say Allan played too.
You're I had a natural transition, but there you go, Alan. The EP pulled me back in. All right, Alan, baseball career. Tell me about that one time you
give the man his due.
Yeah,
that called out on a BS play.
I was an infielder early on, but then I switched pretty quickly to catcher. So I was a catcher most of my career.
God bless you.
My freshman year of high school, midway through the season, I got called up to the varsity squad. So I played 4 years of varsity baseball in high school, which was fun. Went to the districts. Definitely, I can tell you, is intimidating being a freshman in high school playing with a bunch of seniors. And then I went to Central Michigan. I tried to walk on my freshman year as a catcher and got cut. Came back my sophomore year as a pitcher. Ironically, and made the JV team. So I played a season.
Nice. I didn't know you pitched. I know you mentioned in the past that you caught it. I know that you're a pitcher as well. That's very, very cool. How are your knees from all that?
They were growing up horrendous. I did the Tony Pena move.
Runner.
Yeah, and I'm a runner.
You got dual action on those knees there, Alan.
I had a lot of knee trouble in high school, for sure.
Yeah.
I think catcher was the one position I refused to play. Because it's like, I'm not putting all that gear in the middle of July. It's going to be too hot. And I'll say it, I was scared. I was too scared to be a catcher. Is it's like either the ball's gonna hit me right in the knee, or this bat's gonna hit me in the face. So I'm gonna break a hand, or someone's gonna slide and cleat me in the. This gonna iron spike me. Right.
See, I was just the opposite. I was like, God, I don't want to be in the infield and have a ground ball. When you play little league or high school baseball, the fields are horrendous. I don't want to get hit in the face by a ball. So I'm putting all this equipment on. I'm going to protect myself. It's just the opposite. So, and nobody else wanted to do it. So it was one of those things like, well, I'll do it. I don't care.
You guys remember your last game?
Way to step up.
My last game? Yes, I do. I do at Central. Yeah, I remember it very well.
Anything? So like my last game, playoffs, we're losing. And on this last inning, we have a small chance for a rally. Rally caps. I don't believe in rally caps, but everyone else had a rally cap on. Rally caps are stupid. But I'm looking at the lineup, the card. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm coming up soon. And it was like, run on second, game's over. But 2 outs, I come up, and I go, I refuse to end my career striking out. I struck out a lot. And I get up there, nothing to lose, my last plate appearance ever, and I demolish this ball. I mean, it's probably the hardest ball I ever hit. Like, you ever see Vlad Guerrero where the ball bouncing still hit out of the baseball park? It was like one of those, just gone. And deep center field, this kid, he's playing deep anyway. I don't know why. And I swear to God, he goes like this, and the ball just lands in his glove. And I'm rounding first base, see him catch it, and just drop to my knees. And I go, that's how my baseball career ends. And looking back, I don't think I'd have it any other way because I'm never going to forget it.
Not a bad story.
Definitely not.
Pretty good. Yeah. I thought you were going to say you stepped into the pitch and got hit by it.
No, I should have. That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. But it was funny because, like, in Little League, you play from T-ball, which is, 5 or 6, to 12. And then 13, 14, 15 was Babe Ruth.
I never played T-ball. My dad wouldn't let me.
Why not?
I do remember
fun.
that. No,
T-ball was good. The scores you used to get in T-ball were insane. Like, I remember one year we did a game, I think it was 51-16 was the final score in T-ball. It was just insane. I played, I did start with T-ball. I played 2 years of T-ball before switching to coach pitch and everything else.
I miss T-ball. I'm looking forward to.
You can't strike out playing T-ball. If you do, there's something really wrong with you.
Someone did. Someone does. I look forward to coaching. Whether I have a son who can play baseball or a daughter who plays softball, I'm looking forward to what my dad did. Doing the book. You guys, I know, Mike, you have a son and daughter.
Yep.
Right, Allan, I believe
you have a daughter. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I have a daughter.
That's right.
I do have a daughter.
I forget that.
Allan, you have
Vance Lewis. I always say with Vance Lewis.
No, I think I met Maddie once, like in the tube station.
I did.
Bank Tube in London.
That's right. That's right.
No, but unfortunately, Vance, because he grew up in the UK, so Maddie played lacrosse. Was her game. So chicks with sticks. So no interest in baseball at all. And then Vance plays, he plays rugby. He plays soccer. He does not. He played a bit of cricket living in the UK, but he does not have the hand-eye for baseball. And last year he was really gung-ho to get into it. And I'm like, trust me, son, it's rare I'm going to tell you not to do something, but I think that learning baseball when you're 13 or 14 is going to be nothing but heartache.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All these other kids have been playing since they were 8.
Matthias played baseball in London. He played in the London Baseball League.
Yeah, the London Baseball League, but now Wormwood Scrubs.
Yeah, everybody was a Major League Baseball team. It was all Americans. It was super fun. I loved going out on Sunday in the middle of a soccer field, counting off bases, and then all the kids showing up in their Major League Baseball uniforms. It was a great sort of American pastime in London. I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't know baseball was big in London. Right? You think of baseball, right? Obviously, the States, America.
It's not.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't know baseball was even a thing in London. I'm glad it's there.
I said all the Americans got together.
All 15 of them.
I was gonna say that makes more sense because you think of on a global stage, baseball is just America, obviously. Japan, for whatever reason.
Will, how did England do in the World Baseball Classic?
That's what I was trying to. That was my point. Like I didn't think England had a team.
First of all, Allan, it's Great Britain. It is not England.
Great Britain.
Did you see the jerseys they wore?
Uniforms.
Yeah. The first time they busted those out, I think it was on a Sunday night. Twitter was just a light with jokes about, did they use MS Word or MS Paint?
Well,
so it was literally Great Britain.
Have you seen their economy lately? They couldn't afford much. Ooh, is that too much of a dig?
We're going down a different path.
Trust me.
I know you guys know money, so I had to throw a money joke in there somewhere. But let's stick to our baseball classic. We ended with United States and Japan, which I'm surprised the United States even made it in because it is America's pastime, but everyone knows Latin America dominates baseball because they play all year. All the great players come from there, or Japan. Japan just comes out of nowhere. But Japan also has a rich history. Anyone's interested in rich history of Japanese baseball.
Sadrao.
Yeah.
Phil Riccobono and Trevor. I can't pronounce his last name on this podcast. Sports podcast playlist is on everywhere podcasts can be found to find more Japanese baseball history. But World Baseball Classic, U.S. and Japan. Mike, did you watch? How many games did you watch? What did you think?
I didn't watch much, and what's funny is because I thought it would be really dull. And my son, on the other hand, Vance was so bold. I was like, World Baseball Classic. I'm like, Vance, it is meaningless. Nobody cares. Because you know what? For the past, 4 or 5, whatever they've had, nobody has cared. Like, I could. I mean, we were chatting before the show opener about how Japan's won it 3 times. I couldn't have told you that. I mean, I remember like Cuba beat the U.S. once, and now they've got like teams from like the Czech Republic and Israel, like baseball powerhouses like the Czech Republic and Israel in there. So it's
the Netherlands.
It almost feels like the bigger it gets, the more of kind of a setup it is. But obviously, expanding and everything else, I think aside from the injuries, really has paid off. We'll talk more about the injuries.
I think that's the best thing baseball has done. It's the best thing. I know we're going to talk about all the rule changes, but by far, I think this is the best thing that they've done for the game.
I agree now.
Yeah. Getting people involved. Like, yeah. When it first came out, you're like, oh, whatever.
I always forget about it. Like, I don't know when it is. Is it every 4, every 6, every 8 years? I couldn't tell you. Every 4 years?
It's supposed to be 4 years, but I think because of COVID, right? Didn't they change things up a little bit or no? I can't remember, but I thought it was every 4.
Let's see. When was the last one?
It's
been 6 years since, so it would have been 2021. Yes, they had it in 2023.
It's a very cool concept, but I think they play it at the wrong time, which is weird to say because I don't know when they would play it.
And when are they going to play it? I mean, this is probably the best time to play it.
It's preseason, right? Everyone's just getting warmed up, getting ready. Thank God Brian Cashman didn't let any Yankees play. He's like, listen, man, I got enough heat as it is, and you're not going to play there and getting hurt. I'm not being like Michael Cohen over here. So, and he's right. As a Yankee fan, I think World Baseball Classic is really cool, but I always forget it's happening. I think it was marketed poorly, but the games this year were very exciting. I saw the highlights. The players got really into it. I think it's a great idea. I agree with you, Allan. It's a great thing for baseball, but it's tough because I always forget about it, and then it's just like, oh, here it is. It's come and gone, and players get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's there is that injury risk. And
but that's with anything, right?
That's the one thing is as good as it was this year. Yeah, you can't be a Mets fan and be happy right now.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I texted all my Mets fans, all my Mets friends, every single one of them. I go, enjoy this, enjoy the postseason, enjoy maybe next year.
It's 162 game season. Don't count them out yet. You never know what's going to happen. That's the best thing about baseball.
That's why they play the game.
162 games. I mean,
any given weekday or weekend.
Any given weekday, doesn't matter.
Yeah, one game can make a difference. But yeah, Edwin Diaz out for the season. He got hurt celebrating it, and not even like the winning at all, just going to the next round. I don't know if he was pitching. I don't know what happened, but he got injured celebrating, which happens. There was that Phillies player I think a few years ago who hit a walk-off.
I was trying to think who that was. Yeah,
and he broke his leg jumping on home plate, out for the season.
I it's gonna be a Will Tarashuk story. Like you're in Little League, you're celebrating, then out the next all next season.
Yeah, right. Imagine. No, I actually never got hurt. Thank God. Knock on wood. I saw Reese Hodgkins, whatever from the Phillies his name is. He got hurt in spring training today. So you can get injured anywhere. Aaron Judge could get injured in May and his career could be over. 160 million, 360 million, whatever dollars it was down the drain. But World Baseball Classic is cool. It's a cool concept. Great idea. I mean, who doesn't love countries going off against each other? Yeah,
for sure. I think, because, some of these players are on the same team. Now they're representing their country. It's just like the World Cup with soccer, right? I think it's a great tournament, great idea. It's not every year, which also I think is part of the allure to it. Having it spread apart is smart. And I think it's a really good concept. Good idea.
Shohei striking out Mike Trout to
finish it.
Yeah, I was about to say you couldn't script that any better.
So
have, the 2 stars of that team.
Yeah,
probably will not do anything this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Baseball itself can be a very poetic.
But you know what the ironic thing is? Has the most wins in spring training? The Angels.
The
Angels. their 2 best players aren't playing with them. So anyway,
past performance is not indicative of future results, just like all those disclaimers say.
Exactly. But no, great. I mean, to your point, Mike, he couldn't script a better ending. I mean, just phenomenal.
It's just a shame he has to go back and play they both have to go back and play for the Angels, right? Like they're playing games that you gotta think of. Like Mike Trout, I respect the hell out of Mike Trout because he signed that long-term deal with the team he started out with. Something about that in sports, when you stick with the team that drafted you, it's just a lot of love and respect to that because you're just whatever reason they have. But Mike Trout's gonna be like, damn, I could have played for a contending team and this is the baseball I could have been playing. I think he had a quote saying, The only shame is I gotta go back and play 162 meaningless games for the Angels.
Exactly.
And now
he could have won the World Baseball Championship too.
Yeah. And now
Flips
times
through
where
his fingers.
this was like to play in like a World Series atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I might want to leave next year and go to like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Giants or sorry, not the White Sox or the Tigers because
no, they don't have any money.
Yeah.
There's gonna leave. It's gonna go from a bad team to a worse team.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although Mike, you lost. Who's your shortstop?
Yeah, we lost Abreu.
Abreu to the Astros.
First baseman.
First baseman to the Astros.
Talk about a kick in the teeth.
Right in the
Not
teeth.
only
Please.
does he leave, not only does he like does he leave the White Sox, but he goes to the Astros, who the White Sox, I mean, they beat him in 2005 in the World Series, but they've really, since the league realignment, the White Sox and Astros have really developed a pretty bitter rivalry. And that's when they, and it really got even worse when they scored off in the playoffs a couple of years ago. It's interesting how that rivalry's kind of sprung up, and to see Abreu go there, it's not quite on like the level of Babe Ruth going from the Red Sox to the Yankees, but for me, it's definitely. I was not happy to see that, and I do take it personally.
I don't blame you, man. I mean, he's a great player. He's a phenomenal player, and he went to the team that everyone hates most. It is nice knowing that people hate the team more than the Yankees.
I was going to say now it's like the new evil empire is the Houston Astros,
and I think I hate the Astros more than the Red Sox now. Because now, like, right now the Red Sox are bad. It's just kind of like, whatever. I can just laugh at them. And, like, if I have a friend from Massachusetts, be like, hey, screw the Yankees. Be like, dude, scoreboard. Right? I said that growing up all the time.
Scoreboard, ring fingers,
Yeah, it's like Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra has more rings than your whole team, and he's dead. So I mean, there's that. But, Allan, you're Tigers. I don't even know. I couldn't even name 5 players on your team, to be honest.
Oh, come on. Baez, that's all you have to need to know, the shortstop. He's the future. I know he had a really tough year last year, but their goal this year is 500 win percentage. Beat the White Sox. That's their goal.
The Tigers play the White. The problem with the White Sox has always been they can't beat their own division.
But the division's terrible.
There have been plenty of years. Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like they play down to their opposition. So
well, you got the Guardians, the Tigers, the White Sox.
The worst division of baseball. Yeah, by far, it is the worst division.
Guardians, Tigers, White Sox, Twins, and the Royals.
And the Royals. You got 5 teams, and almost all of them are really bad.
Yeah, almost. I mean, the Guardians, you could argue, are the best team in that division.
They're the tallest midget in that division.
Yeah. And they got Frank Kona,
Twins. The Twins. Yeah, no, you gotta love Frank Kona. The thing with the Twins is like they just stick around. They're like a hemorrhoid or something. They just refuse to go away.
Yeah.
And they're always, they always contend, no matter what kind of lineup of spare parts. It's like, it's like poor man's Moneyball. It's like a step below the A's, but they operate on that same principle, low budget, get guys who get on base and can, have all the intangibles.
The only nice thing about the AL Central is that anybody could win that division this year. I mean, it really is up for grabs. And I say that sort of tongue in cheek. It's going to be tough for the Royals and the Tigers to win that division, but it's going to be really competitive to see who loses the least amount of games. So it's going to be interesting.
It's a race to 100.
Correct. Correct. I think that, for my sake, and I think for Mike's sake, like, I think that's the only interesting part of that division this year is it's a crapshoot. I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah. That's going to be fun though.
Yeah.
Right? That's going to be fun as a fan.
I think so.
Because it's interesting. And it's that in of itself is reason to go to the games other than the fact that they're cheap because their team's bad. But the AL East,
you're always going to get a ticket.
My AL East, it's like the Yankees are always going to be there. The Red Sox could be there if their owner wasn't a jerk. The
Red
Rays
Sox could be there. Yankees are going to win the division, no doubt.
The Rays are always there, and the Blue Jays are always competitive.
They're around.
Yeah, they're around.
Yeah.
But to your point on the Twins, Mike, the problem with the Twins is they usually face the Yankees in the playoffs, and every single time, 4 games, the Yankees beat them. That's just how it works.
Yep.
That's just how it works.
What are the
God, do we have to hear you all night just talk about the Yankees beating
Hell yeah,
everybody?
man. This is my podcast. You're in my house.
His podcast, his house, his rules.
The house that Will built.
The house that Will built. I love it. I was just going to say one quick thing about.
Okay, go ahead.
I just say real quick about Yankees Twins. Back in so my wife's from Minnesota, and back when we lived in Chicago, we used to drive up there every summer to visit the in-laws. And then there was one year, I think it was probably 2004 or or maybe 06. No, it's before the White Sox won the World Series. So probably 03 or 04 when the Twins played the Yankees in it was the abbreviated, the 5-game playoff. Got to game 5. Chris and I decided the night before, oh heck, let's drive up and get cheap tickets. Get the worst tickets in the Metrodome. Sat in the row ZZZ of section 505, and got to watch the Yankees win in the bottom of the ninth with I think they won it on a wild pitch or something really bizarre. But just watching all those Twins fans' hearts break was a.
Did you have to watch the game on the big screen because you couldn't see the players?
Pretty much. I spent most of the time looking at the jumbotron because you couldn't actually see the home plate was this tiny little speck. I mean, the Metrodome was massive.
Saying, Mike, we should make a wager. Like whoever finishes higher in our division, the Sox or the Tigers, the loser has to buy steak dinner.
That sounds like a plan.
All right,
you're on.
All right,
let's do it.
Will, we're on the record.
Yeah. All right, on the record.
Do
I get in on that?
No, no,
because you got to spot us 40 games. Will.
Yeah. All right. What if I give you a 20-game handicap?
Sure.
25.
25. Or what if God? What if I had to pick the Orioles?
The Orioles. That's going back to the Red Wings for a second. My childhood team. That was the team that I grew up with. Was the Orioles, because that was the Red Wings were their AAA affiliate. So I got to see Cal Ripken play when I was a kid. Kurt Schilling, Mike Messina, so many of those guys came through the Baltimore farm system. I think the best player I saw for the Red Wings was probably a guy named Craig Worthington, he wasn't much in the majors, much in the majors. He was one hell of a AAA player, let me tell you. And then another guy who really stood out, who went some places in the majors but wasn't really a big deal, was David Segui. Played for the Mariners for a while. I think he might have played for the Tigers for a couple years. He played for the Mariners for a while. But no, Segui was a ridiculous minor league player. Anyway, yeah, Will, if you take the Orioles, you're on.
Oh, steak dinner.
Think about that, Will.
God, can I afford 3 steaks on the Baltimore Orioles plus beer plus a tip in New York? Ooh. Oh, Allan, maybe if you
we're going to Keens. We're not.
If you could pull some strings and talk to some old colleagues and get me a promotion, I think I'd be in on this.
Hey, I'm unemployed right now.
That's true. That is true. All right.
Yeah.
Before we get into rule changes, I do want to actually bring up a conversation I had with this guy on LinkedIn. Actually, it's weird. It was one of the weirdest LinkedIn experiences I ever had because this guy was interested in having like a client of his be on a podcast. Like, oh, let's just hop on the phone. And we're talking for like 45 minutes. We get into baseball on the podcast. And he's telling me about how much he hates going to the stadium nowadays because it's very overstimulating. It's too loud. You can't just go and just talk to people. It's just like constant noise and attractions and this, that, and the other. Older guy. And I want to get your guys' take on it. Like, I don't remember a time. After he said that, I thought about it. I was like, wow, there are a lot of bells and whistles at the games nowadays. And I don't remember being that little of a kid if it was much different. But when you guys were kids, back in the 80s, how different was the stadium? And how much do you prefer it? Do you prefer it back then where it was a little more quiet, like you and your dad could have a talk over a dog? Or do you prefer it now where it's more fun and engaging for the crowd?
When I went, it was just men in their suits.
Oh, yeah. No, were they on the field? They used to be on the field.
Yeah, no, I think that, I mean, I have my own personal opinion, but I don't like going to night games. I think night games get a little more unruly than day games, in my opinion. I prefer a day game. It's a much more, I think, an experience that I remember, I guess, as a kid, because I went to mostly day games as a kid. I couldn't go to a night game back in the 70s or 80s, school nights, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So I prefer day games. It's just, I think it's a better way. So, I played most of my games during the day, so I just think a better experience for me. I don't think it's ultimately too different. I mean, we're obviously, different decades, different generations. I think the night game experience is definitely different than when I was a kid and growing up versus I think the day game's a pretty chill experience. Unless you go to the White Sox on demolition disco night.
Disco demolition. I was going to say, as a White Sox fan, generally the stadium's quiet because nobody goes. But no, I do. I'm a bit. I don't mind that batters have walk-up music. I think, I've often thought in my life, if I ever played Major League Baseball, what my walk-up song would be. So I definitely like that. But the answer is My Wave by Soundgarden, by the way. But I've often thought about like there's got to be a point where it's got to end. I mean, it's fine to have walk-up music. I like a little bit of organ music, kind of, during pitching changes and things like that. But you don't need the let's get loud nonsense between every pitch. That just gets to be a little bit too much. I mean, I don't mind some, like I said, I don't mind some tunes here and there. But yeah, just the nonstop noise definitely, it gets me, and get off my lawn.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid growing up, it was just the organ music. That's all you had.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
A few things here and there. There's a certain guy. I remember Yankee Stadium, this old guy with a pots and pans. He was going around banging. Like, I think his name was Eddie or something. So stuff like that. The little game with the ball into the hat, and you got to pick which one, or like the news reporter goes and talks to a kid and asks some trivia questions.
Yeah.
But
those are fine. Yeah.
I was like, I wish I could go back to a baseball game where none of those things happened. Like, you bring a date and you can just hang out, talk, and enjoy a nice quiet.
Yeah. We didn't have jumbotrons when I was a kid.
Yeah, but it does sound refreshing, and I wish I could have that experience. But again, the overstimulation of baseball makes it more fun and more engaging for an audience.
Mike, you probably agree on this point too. Like, going to the game as a kid, like if you missed a play, you missed it. So you were like, because there was no replay.
There were no TV. I mean, it was like, it was little dots on the scoreboard kind of thing. I mean, you didn't have, I think the first ball game I went to actually was a TV on the scoreboard was the Sky Dome. So it had to be probably late 80s, early 90s. Cause that was, I used to go to, if I wanted a major league fix, I'd either my grandfather and I'd go down to Baltimore, or we drive up to Toronto, because Toronto's only 3.5, 4 hours from Rochester. Mm-hmm. So like, I didn't go to a Yankees game until I was well into my 20s. So those were like the closest things to like a hometown major league team I had was either Toronto or Baltimore. But no, I remember like Exhibition Stadium was, the Blue Jays players at Memorial Stadium where the Orioles played, more of the same. But yeah, I remember like going when the Sky Dome opened, like, wow, there's an actual TV, and it was the actual. I think it was one of the first Sony jumbotrons out there. I was like, wow, they're actually showing the action on the TV. But yeah, no, there was none of that at Silver Stadium in minor league baseball. That's for damn sure.
I gotta go on the more ballparks. I've been to Fenway, Yankee Stadium, and Citi Field. That's about it.
Wow, that's it.
I'll get there. I'll get there one day. I know. I've traveled.
I've done 24
for ball games. Damn, lucky, very lucky.
I'm old.
I really want to go to Wrigley before they tear it down. If they ever tear it down.
Wrigley's really special.
Like, I love the fact that I've been able to go to old stadiums and new stadiums. Yeah, like that to me is pretty cool, because they've just started like tearing everything down. So to be able to say you've been to both old and new is, I think, a great experience.
Mm-hmm. I do regret not being able to go to Shea Stadium.
Shea Stadium was special.
That would have been really cool.
Big orange donut.
Yep. I prefer old Yankee Stadium to New Yankee Stadium. New Yankee Stadium's great. Old's better. There's no better place in sports than Fenway Park. And I say that honestly and truthfully. Fenway Park is such a special, you can smell the history. Yeah. You can just feel it, and the crowd is dedicated. The Sox could be 0-60. It's going to be sold out, and they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah,
like,
it's a great place.
I hate Red Sox fans with a burning passion, but they're dedicated and passionate, and I got to respect them for it.
I don't think they like you either.
They don't. Elementary school was really hard, but I asked for it. I wore Yankee stuff. I wore Yankee gear to school. What did I expect? So, the bullying I deserved. But all right, let's talk about some rule changes. Before we get to the new ones,
here we go.
Let's go back to an old one. The playoff system. Last year they introduced new playoffs, and they had a season of it. The best of 3 for wild card game instead of the one and you're in, and then the brackets. At first, I thought it was silly. I saw it play out because I am of the idea that not everyone should make the playoffs. Right, the playoffs should be very exclusive. It used to be just not even divisions. It used to be just the 2 leagues, the pennant, and the World Series. That was it.
Yeah.
But seeing it play out, I thought it was a lot of fun. The playoff baseball was incredible. The games were fun. The fans were into it. It's great for revenue. MLB made a lot of money, and I don't like participation trophies, but I think the other playoffs, this was a lot better than the one and done, one game and you're in that it used to be. And it's more reason to win a division. So, Allan, what do you think?
I see both sides of this. It's, if you're the team with the better record and you've had the better season and all of a sudden you're out because of this, I think you're super annoyed by it. But it is, I think at the end of the day, it's a better way to do it. Look, I think they're still experimenting with 3 divisions in each league. I don't think we're at a sort of point where we kind of, even Major League Baseball feels comfortable with what they're doing. There's a lot of teams, they've moving things around. Astros are in the American League now, which is always still confuses me to this day. So I think it was that bad. I think at the end of the day, it was probably a better move. I don't like the fact that they tinker with things just because it's, we need more revenue. That to me drives me nuts. But I think that at the end of the day, it was a good move.
Yeah, I'm a baseball. I guess conservative.
Don't say purist. Don't say
conservative.
Purist.
For lack of a better term.
Baseball conservative.
Baseball conservative, for lack of a better term. But I think if they kind of, to your point on the better record, you're stuck in a wild card game, they could do what the NBA does. They have the divisions, but it don't really mean anything. It's just the top 8 teams and the bottom 2 play, or whatever it is, play each other. But Mike, what do you think? What do you think of the rules? What do we have to add to this?
Yeah, I didn't like the 1 game playoff. I guess I'll start by saying, do's and don'ts. Like I don't think the playoffs needed to be expanded. But then they did that. And I was like, okay, there's really no need to do this if it's going to be a 1 game playoff. I still don't think the playoffs need to be expanded or should have been expanded. But since they have, I guess I like the 3 game series better because, Allan alluded to it a minute ago, but, if you're the best team, the best team that doesn't get the bye and you have one off night, you're cooked. That's, it's the way sports is to a degree, but still you should have some chance to redeem yourself. Yeah. It shouldn't be one and done for, after 161 or 162 game season. It should not be one and done. There should be a series. Right. And so I think that this model that they're using now is good. You play the whole season as a series. Like you don't have one-off series. There is no 1 game in baseball. Yeah. It's always a 3, 4, or 5 game set. That's a great point too. Yeah. This is completely different mindset. Yeah, you got to feel out your opponents and tire out their pitchers and stuff like that. Yeah. You can't do it. I mean, if you get a 1 game playoff, what do you end up doing? You end up having, a starter who goes 3 innings and then you just empty the bullpen. And then one of those teams is going to win, and the guys all got rubber arms because they had to go, going into a 5 game series with rubber arms because they all had to go out and work 2 innings because of the the bullpen emptying just to get through the 1. All right, so spring training has played around with these 3 big rule changes. Talking about the pitch timer, the shift restriction, which is just adorable, and the bigger bases. So let's start with the pitch timer. And pickoff move. That's the 4th one. All right. Well, you have to smarten me up on the pickoff move. So remind me in case I move on. But the pitch timer, 15 seconds with bases empty, 20 seconds with runners on. Hitter gets 1 timeout per plate appearance, easy for me to say. Must be in his batter's box with 8 seconds left. Okay. Pitchers get 2 disengagements, pickoff attempts, or step-offs per batter. Violations are a box. Allan, was that the rule? Yep. Yeah. All right, so that's the pickoff. That one I don't mind. I'll say off the bat. That one's fine. Yeah. Limits on pickoff attempts lead to 26% increase in stolen base attempts in the minors. Pitcher timer helped reduce game length by 25 minutes in the minors in 2022. We'll get to the length of the game and the shift restrictions, but pitch clock. Mike, what do you think? I think there needs to be, or historically, there's needed to be a better discipline around the amount of time between pitches. I think there needs to be a pitch timer for sure, but I find the actual clock to be extremely intrusive. I don't like looking behind the plate and seeing a clock back there, ticking down. This isn't the NFL. This isn't, hockey where there's a penalty. Now. I mean, exactly. I mean, the umpire could have a stopwatch or watching his wrist or wristwatch or whatever that counts down the time and, give a little signal or get, the ump could get into his crouch with 8 seconds left or whatever. And that could kind of be the heads up for the pitcher. There's other ways to enforce this without having the clock. I think. I would never trust an umpire with a stopwatch and not seeing it. And I guess maybe I'm too much of a purist. Maybe I have too much faith. I don't mind I don't mind the clock. I really don't. I think they're going to get super used to it pretty quickly. Again, 160 games. It's definitely going to speed up the game. Maybe it should have been 20 seconds instead of 15, just overall. But I think you can't put blame on
on the pitchers either. The batters take, enormous amount of time, all the step outs,
A lot of fidgeting,
timeouts, and taking your gloves off and putting them on and practice things. It's like, oh my gosh, just get in the box and hit the ball. I really like this rule. I think it's the next step is you go to a 3-2 count, right? So if you really want to speed up the game, which no one is going to like. So I don't mind this. I think it's going to put a lot more rhythm into the game versus, now if, you got a couple guys on base, maybe you want to take a little bit more time, slow the game down. You can't really do that. Like, you got to go. And if a pitcher having pitched a year in JV in college, like, I can appreciate that. Like, you're in a rhythm. You want to put the batter on their back feet. You want to keep going because you are in a groove. And I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be harder on the batters than it is the pitchers.
I completely agree. I was just
much harder on the batters
because
get in and swing.
Yogi Berra said it's like baseball is 80% mental, whatever other numbers he made up. And to a pitcher, more often than not, they're going to be in a good rhythm than a bad rhythm.
Yeah.
If a pitcher's in a bad rhythm, they need to just kind of take a breath, step off the mound, and just relax, get a mound visit to kind of snap them back into
10
it.
seconds then.
Right, but that's going to be very, very hard to do. And, baseball is a mental game. And the pitch clock will still make it a mental game. Don't get me wrong. It's just a different kind of mental game. But to Mike's point, the clock is a little annoying just to see. But it has to be somewhere.
If basketball, Steph Curry scores 50 points a game, he's got to look at a clock all game. Like, it's not going to take that long to get used to. Come on, seriously?
I saw Aaron Judge compare it to a shot clock in basketball, but the difference is basketball is a timed game. Baseball, but makes baseball great, in my opinion.
Baseball is timed game now.
Now it's a timed game. So it's just, it's different. I think out of all the rules, this is the one I'll give the most a chance.
I give this a plus. It was a good move. I really was. I'm really in favor of it. I think what you're going to see happen though is you're going to get a lot of like Neymar's on the field. Someone's hurt, rolling around in the mound. Right. Slow down the game.
I mean, it's bad enough the NBA is all floppers now. Just wait till baseball turns into
exactly. Oh, the Rosenbach hit
game
my
of floppers.
Seriously, I got too much rosin on my hand. It's hurt. So you're going to see people. There are going to be pitchers that try to game the system. It's going to be kind of funny.
Yeah, Scherzer tried it. Although, if it's an elimination game, all right, let's say it's a huge. Let's say it's mid-September. You got rival teams like the Dodgers and the Giants fighting for a division. Game-winning run on third base. And it's called strike 3 to end the game because of a pitch clock. Come on, man.
Yeah. If it's that late in the season, you're not used to the pitch clock yet.
Come on, man.
You are harsh, Schoenberg. You are really harsh.
Like in the play,
you saw the movie Hoosiers, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Basketball, same height. The net's the same height for both teams. Free throw lines the same distance. 20 seconds is 20 seconds.
I could see this being a huge problem in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to be that umpire.
Yeah. So I'll leave it there. I can see this being a huge problem in the playoffs. But to your point, Allan, 162 games get used to.
20 years from now, Will, there's going to be a 10-year-old kid saying, I blew the World Series Little League because I took too long in the pitching.
When they get the pitch clock in Little League, then
guess what? He's still got a trophy.
Exactly.
To their point, they did it in the minors. Like they did stress test this.
Yeah, of course.
And it works.
Several minor leagues. You can do that in the minor leagues with baseball. NBA has its minor league league now, which they do the same thing. I love the fact that they do it in the minor leagues and test it. It's super smart.
It does. It's very, very smart. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if they tried the shift BS, but the shift restrictions.
This is stupid.
Two infielders must be positioned on either side of second base when pitch is released. All 4 infielders must have both feet within the infield when a pitcher is on the rubber. Shift restrictions increase batting average and decrease strikeouts in minors, which give players more opportunity to show off their athleticism. So I'm going to, not only is this stupid, but MLB's goal is to shorten the game. But at the same time, they want more base runners.
Which is what you're with the point with the bases too. They're going to get more runners, so more runs.
If your goal is to shorten the game, why are you going to counteract those 25 minutes with no shift because players can't hit and bigger bases, which can be a huge difference
Yeah, they're playing politics. They're trying to please everybody. We want to shorten the game, but we want more runs. You can't do that. It's impossible. It's impossible.
This one's stupid. This one's really stupid. I have seen the argument it makes for more athletic. It makes for more athletic infielders, which fine. But you see the Red Sox in spring training put a left fielder in shallow right against Joey Gallo, which probably struck out anyway. But they just leave left field. You just leave left field wide open. Yeah. It's like, bro, you're a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
If you can't hit out of a shift, you have the best coaches in the world. You have all day to practice. You can't just learn to bunt down the third baseline. You shouldn't be in the Major League Baseball then.
No, that's the thing. It's going to kill situational hitting, which is, I think, so much of the science of baseball is around, probabilities and percentages and everything else in a certain situation. That having the shift banned is going to just totally that out.
My first thought when I read this was like, I just can see the field now. They're going to start lining the field where all the players have to stand and they can't go out of their box.
Get your box. Right? Like the technical area in soccer.
Exactly.
You got to be in your little.
I don't think it's necessary. I understand why they're doing it, but Will, to your point, it's going to be more runs, more people on. It's going to slow the game down, which is exactly what they're trying to not do. Like, it's just confusing.
It's just weird. It's really weird.
And if you can't hit to the opposite field, I guess you got to learn.
Yeah, you got to learn. That's what they pay you millions of dollars to do.
Yeah,
to learn.
Yeah, and hitting a small ball that's coming at you 95 miles an hour, try to shift your hands and you're batted within seconds. Yeah.
Open the gate, swing the hinge, and just bloop it out.
But the fact that so many more, to Mike's point, right? The fact that so many more teams have been using the shift. I mean, it's a strategic play, and they, I think they kind of finally figured it out. So to take that away is, I don't know. I think it's kind of petty.
I mean, I do hate the shift in general. Like, I
don't think it's going to last. This is a rule I don't think is going to last.
I don't either. Yeah. Like, it does ruin like people's careers, right? Like people once 300 hitters, now 280. It's just like, I hate the shift because I hate the shift, but I hate that they can't shift even more.
Yeah. But it is. It is also. There's a risk involved with it, right? You put on the shift and the guy, everyone goes to right center and center field and the guy hits the ball down the left field line.
David Ortiz would do it.
Guess what?
David Ortiz was the first player they used to shift on.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to think of who it was. It was Ortiz.
It was Ortiz. One, it wouldn't really work. And then they did it. Victor Martinez ruined his career. Sorry, Allan. But Ortiz, every now and then, especially against the Yankees, just boop, jumping down the third baseline. A-Rob was sitting there picking his nose.
Yeah.
So wanting to fight Bronson Arroyo again. So I mean,
it's not foolproof. It can definitely backfire, and when it does, it backfires big. So it's a risk. But
don't like the concept, but it's a wait and see. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would grade this one as C minus.
And bigger bases, I'm a little split on because it reduces injuries, which fine, but baseball is a game of inches, and they are adding 3 inches to first, 3 inches to third, and 4.5 between first and second and third.
Yeah. This is the biggest rule change. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's huge. Yeah. And again, Will, to your point, it's going to create more people on base, more stolen bases, slow down the game, more runs, someone sliding a second. Like, it is definitely slowing the game down. I don't like this one. I think it's I don't know. I think it's unnecessary. Again, I see why they're doing it. They want more runs, but I think this is going to be a huge game changer. More people are going to be safe, more runners. I think this is going to have the biggest impact by far.
I didn't know the bases were unsafe to begin with. I thought like 15 inches was pretty big, especially because on first baseman they keep their toe.
If they wanted,
their toe was always on the bat.
Remember in grade school when you had the flat mat for a base? And
we had big bulky ones that went into the ground. We didn't have flat mats.
Oh, you must have gone to a fancy school.
Yeah, no kidding. Gosh,
we had like these flat. It was like a floor tile. It had like the waffle iron pattern underneath.
Oh, in elementary
school.
In elementary school, we did. I'm thinking Little League.
Yeah, no. Little League we had problem.
No, in Little League, in grade school, we just drew a box.
But change the base. To your point, like, okay, no, so it's not a leather base anymore. Make it a rubber mat, like a thick rubber mat that's an inch off the ground. It's making the bases bigger is
make them all plates. They're like home plate. Home plate says
exactly. Yeah, all pentagons.
Yeah,
all pentagons.
One for each. Yeah.
I'll relate it to food. If you have an enormous hamburger, it doesn't make it better, right? So make it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Doesn't make it better.
All right.
So,
I think that's pretty much all the rule changes. Do you guys want to run through the divisions and make some predictions?
Oh God, sure.
Let's do it.
Most of this is going to be easy.
Oh
yeah, exactly. Look into the crystal ball.
Well, I'll keep the records and
you write them down and see how awful
exactly.
How awful we do.
Who was right, who was wrong. All right, the AL East.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, Orioles, Blue Jays. I'm taking the Yankees, winning about 98 games.
Oh, that's an easy one. That's the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox are going to give them a run for their money, though. But I think the Yankees eke it out.
Right.
Eke it out, like by a game.
Do they win 100 games?
No, I don't. I don't think they do.
How does Judge do?
Phenomenal. He is an amazing year.
Does he bat 300?
Yeah.
50 home runs?
Yep.
120 RBIs?
Probably. I think he's going to have an amazing year. I really do. Yeah. He's phenomenal. He really is. And he's just building on what he did last year. He's MVP this year, I think.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Very bold.
He's
very. I'll say the Yankees too. I don't think the challenge will come from the Red Sox though. I think the challenge will come from probably the Rays, who just kind of have this strange way of hanging around and showing up every now and then.
Interesting.
So we'll see. But I do think great farm system, well stocked by loads of trades over the past 6-7 years that are hopefully starting to come.
Oh, hey, Will.
Yep.
By the way, Yankees suck.
Thank you. Never heard that one before.
It only took us 52 minutes.
Yeah, we have 51:44 in this podcast. Well, give or take. Thanks,
first
Allan.
Yankees suck is out. But I do think Judge is going to light it up this year. I'm also curious to see what young Mr. Anthony Volpe, what becomes of him.
So excited for Volpe.
He's been lighting it up in spring training. So I'm really curious to see, is this kid the next Jeter or what?
He's playing against AAA players, Mike.
Let the kids play. Let them play.
Yeah.
Let them play. IKF sucks. Donaldson's bad. Oswaldo Cabrera can play literally everywhere. He played first base the other day. Let the kids play or get rid of them. That's what I say.
You trade me, coach.
Let's go to your Central. Got the Twins, the White Sox, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Guardians.
Roll of the dice. I'll go with the Guardians. It's the safest bet. But they win the division by winning like 80 games. I just don't think this division is exciting at all.
No. I agree with Allan. I think it's going to be the Guardians. I think the Twins will come in second. I think it's going to be probably 85, 86 games. So all it takes to win that division.
Really? That's it? You guys are that low confident?
Yeah.
I'll say
very, very, very low confidence.
I'll say the Guardians 91 wins.
90.
Really?
Okay.
91.
Well, they do get to play a lot of other teams in the AL Central who all suck.
Yep.
So but those teams are all like Cinderella teams. Like they're gonna. I think they'll surprise. Well, again, 160 games, right?
Yeah.
Tigers swept the Yankees last year. Remember that, Will?
Yeah.
I don't. When did that happen? Was it in April? Was it in April?
Yeah, it was like May or June. So.
Well, Yankees have always had a tough time against the Tigers. In the early aughts.
They do actually. They
the
really
playoffs. They couldn't beat Verlander, and then in the teens, the 20-teens, and the 2020s, they still can't beat Verlander. So things never change. All right, AL West, Astros, A's. I think it's the A's this time. The Angels, the Rangers, who have a DeGrom on vacation, and the Seattle Mariners, who have a young phenom. It's got to be the Astros, right? Defending champs, unbelievable team, still cheaters. But what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Astros, they win 100 games on the dot.
Interesting.
I think
Mike, you want to go?
I can't disagree. I think the Astros will win it. I think it'll be 100 plus. I think the team to watch is going to be the Mariners, who've made a lot of noise the past couple of years. And I think that we talked about it earlier, but the Angels are really kind of in a bit of a down market right now. So I think the historically they were a bit of a power. They're in the A's, both powerhouse. Now they both suck. So I think it's I think the Rangers have spent a lot and they won't get a lot for it. I think it's going to be the Astros and the Mariners. So,
all right, I'm going with the Rangers. This is an upset. This is an upset division for me.
Upset city.
Yeah, I think it's an all Texas division. I think this year, I think the Angels are going to have moments of brilliance.
They got Seager. They got Evaldi.
Then middle of the season, you're going to start to hear all of the rumors where Ohtani's going. I think it's going to be very disruptive. I think Trout still holds a grudge for being struck out by him. That lasts all season. But I like the Rangers. I think, to Mike's point, they've made some interesting purchases. It's a surprise. I'm just saying it's a long shot, but I'm going to go with the Rangers.
All right. I can't believe you just said the Rangers. I think the most interesting division in baseball, and I think the one to watch, it's going to be the most fun, the NL East. Got the Braves, the Nationals, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Marlins. I mean, the past few years, the NL East have been the darlings of baseball. You know, if you're in 2020, the Nationals go on that run. 2021, we get the Braves going that run. 2022, we get the Phillies going that crazy run. The Cinderella team lives in the NL East, and I don't know who does it again. Probably the Braves.
I'm with you. They have a phenomenal hitting team.
They're young and they're healthy
with a good pitching staff. To your point, they're healthy. Mets are probably the best team on paper, but I think the Braves have the experience, the teamwork, which makes a big difference. That collaboration sort of mentality. It's the Braves.
I think you got three teams that are going to win 90 games at least.
Yeah.
The Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies. I said the Braves. I think I'm going to change my mind to the Phillies. I think the Phillies take this 97
You
wins.
stole my pick.
Sorry.
You stole my pick. I was going to say, I think the Phillies are going to surprise a lot of people. I think the Braves, I mean, thinking back to like when we were in like junior high, Alan, the Braves were just always around. And I think 30, 40, however many years it's been later, they're still always around. I think they're always going to be a threat. But I think it's going to be Phillies, then Braves in a close one. I think the Mets struggle. I think they maybe sneak in as a wild card, but I don't know.
Yeah. No miracle Mets this year.
No miracle Mets.
Definitely no miracle.
I mean, who knows? I mean, if Pete Alonso has a great year, if who's their shortstop? I forget his name. The guy who was if he can stay healthy. They picked up Verlander. They still got Scherzer.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great club.
They lost to Grom, which I think is silly.
Yeah, who cares? He can't stay healthy. They just need to stay healthy. They re-signed Nimmo. The Mets made all the right moves in the offseason, in my opinion, except the World Baseball Classic. But other than that, they made all the right moves to set them up for a deep run in the playoffs. They'll make the playoffs. They'll probably lose in the wild card game again. That's my guess.
It's Francisco Lindor. Who's the shortstop for the Mets. Yeah, I was like, I had to look up something like, what's his name? I can picture it on the jersey, but I can't remember what it says.
I can picture what he looks like. They're a fun team to watch, though. The Mets are. The Mets are a very fun team to watch. I love going to Citi Field to watch the Mets lose. It's a great time. It is such a great time.
I definitely enjoy going to Citi Field as much as so I live in New Jersey, so it's obviously a bit of a hassle for me to get out there, but I still think it's great fun.
I take my friends to Yankee Stadium. I take my kids to Citi Field. I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I would take them to Citi Field.
Yeah.
NL Central, another garbage division. The Reds, the Pirates.
The division with like 15 teams in it.
Yeah, the Reds, the Pirates, the Cardinals,
the
Brewers, and the Cubs.
Cardinals
are a great team.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Cardinals will win 92, 93 games.
Yeah.
I think the Brewers will probably come in second. Cubs are rebuilding, and they'll be better than they were. But no, I still think it's as is almost always been the case, it's still St. Louis' division to lose.
Yeah, I think Cubs to me are like the Tigers, right? Just do better than they did last year. Win one more game you did last year. That's your goal.
St. Louis gets with 93 wins.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals too.
Yeah. Great team in the Cardinals. I was a lot of fun watching Yachty and Pujols retire last season. Pujols, man, it looked like he could have played 3 more years, but I think he just gave it his all and just emptied the tank. Is Cabrera? Is this his last season, or did he retire?
For the Tigers?
Yes.
Cabrera. No, he's DH.
Is this his last season?
Yeah, he's going to come in 5th place.
I'm excited to see his send-off. I mean, phenomenal player, Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I remember him with the Marlins.
Yeah. He'll be in the Hall of Fame as a Tiger.
20 years of service easily. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he entered the league when he was like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. He was a rookie in MVP baseball 2005, the video game.
Yep. Which, by the way, we didn't argue the DH rule. So,
Oh, the universal DH? No, Alan, we did that.
We've got one more division left.
Didn't we do that in our first podcast? We argued the DH rule?
Yeah, you and I did. Yes.
You and I did.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get Mike's take on it after.
I'm an AL guy. I'm pro DH. So I also think it speeds the game up.
I am pro DH on both sides. If you want your pitchers to hit, put them in a lineup.
Yeah. I'm pro pitcher hitting.
Put them in a lineup then.
Yeah.
NL West, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Rockies. Also
only
very
one team
fun
in this
division.
Yeah, Dodgers, no doubt. Best pitching squad last year. They had the lowest batting average against. They're strong. I think they should have been the World Series last year. They're going to win the division.
Their choke was crazy.
Their choke. Yeah, no, they're either snake bit by that, or it's just that much more of.
I think they're hungry.
Much more fuel for the fire. Yeah, I think I'm hoping they're hungry.
Yeah, I the tiger.
I'm gonna go on a whim here. I think someone gets hurt in the Dodgers, like right after the All-Star break, like in end of July. Someone gets hurt. I don't know who, but someone. And the Padres swoop in. Just get really.
Oh, that's a really interesting choice.
That's not They've spent a lot of money, and I mean, when Will and I talked back in November, that was one thing that I kind of looked at. Where the f did the
where they
Padres
get the money?
Get all this money
yeah,
from?
I mean, the Fed printed
it's
it.
It's not McDonald's money. It's not Roy Kroc owning them anymore.
The Jerome Powell is secretly a huge Padres fan.
Yeah,
what recession?
That's an interesting choice.
They continue to spend.
Yeah, I think they could be a spoiler, but they're not going to be. It's the Dodgers. Dodgers win the World Series, by the way.
I do think think Soto is a little overrated. I will say that. I think the magic of him has worn off. I think pitchers figured out how to pitch.
Yeah, we saw that last year, I think.
So, and I think it's going to fizzle out. Machado, phenomenal. And and Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts is a phenomenal player. Watching him play in Boston, I wanted the Yankees to scoop him up very, very badly, but I understand why they didn't. He got paid way too much money, but he is an excellent player. Excellent all-around player. I'm a big fan. And they got Yu Darvish. And I think it all depends. If Yu Darvish has a great season, and their other guy they picked up from Tampa a few years ago has a great season, the Padres will go deep in the playoffs. But I'm gonna go with the Padres, upset the Dodgers.
I think, I like that. I'd like to see the Dodgers do it because that's who I picked. But Padres have, their last World Series I think was against the Tigers in 1984. So.
Yeah.
Did they play against the Padres? They lost to the Yankees.
In 84? No.
The Padres lost to the Yankees in 98, I think.
Oh, they did?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Let me give that a quick Google. 1998 World.
That is correct. Series. Swept by the Yankees.
Yep. How I
the reason you didn't
one of many victims of the late 90s Yankees.
I pulled that one right out. I just pulled that one out of thin air. I knew I was right though. So yeah. So Alan, you're picking the Dodgers in the World Series over who and how many games?
I think they're gonna. I know I picked the Rangers, but it's Dodgers Astros.
Dodgers Astros. How many games?
Yeah, 6.
6 games. Mike, what do you got?
I'm gonna go Dodgers Yankees. Yankees in 7.
Oh,
Mikey, why are you feeding?
I know. I feel so unclean. I've got to grab
I
another
would
stream and wash my
love
mouth.
that.
I'm just angling for another appearance on Talking with Tarashuk.
I have been begging. Mike, you're welcome back anytime, my friend. You know that. All I got to do is ask and have a talking point. I would love to see Yankees Dodgers in 7. I'd be terrified because one of my best friends out in LA is a huge Dodgers fan and an even bigger baseball fan. So we would be just calling and texting back and forth. And I know you're watching. I hope it happens because I'm going to laugh in your face when they lose. But I don't think, man, it's going to be tough. Who do I think makes it from the American League?
Oh, gee, I wonder. I wonder. Who is he going to pick?
I'm not going to lie, I don't think the Yankees make the World Series with the squad. I think next year. I think next year is their year when their young guys are a little more seasoned. I think the Yankees lose to the Astros one more time, and the Astros go down to the Braves.
Braves. That was my second choice.
Braves
always
Braves in 7. I like predicting 7.
Yeah.
And I predicted the Yankees the past 6 years. I haven't gotten close. So
yeah,
not this time. Not this time. I'm gonna pick the Braves over the Astros. The Yankees are almost there. They have their pitching. They got their bullpen. They just need to get their young guys a little more grown up, and they'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick.
All right.
I think that's a good one.
And I think that's a perfect place to end. Let's, gentlemen, anything else you want to pick? Baseball, anything you want to talk? Anything else you want to say?
I would recommend that everybody, if you have the chance, Jason Gay wrote a really good piece in the Wall Street Journal today about how baseball is back and this is their time to capitalize. And I certainly hope he's right, because I'm definitely a re-engaged baseball fan.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. But I think the World Baseball Championship was phenomenal. Great start to the season already, and I think it's going to be an interesting year because of all the rule changes. But I don't think we're done with the rule changes. I think there is going to be a lot of assessment after this year. And I think there's more to come on the rules side.
It'll be very.
They're going to change the height of the mound.
Oh, my God.
Because that's the one that's always bandied around. That's the one that's, I think would prove to be.
I'm still going with the lines on the field to keep the players. You can't go over the line. You can. This is left field. Don't leave it.
Get back in your box.
God,
exactly.
That would be a nightmare. That would be such a nightmare.
No.
If they raise the mound, I feel like you'd see a lot more people. Wait, they could change the mound. You think they'd lower it or raise it?
I think they'd raise it.
They'd raise it.
They'd have to raise it.
You'd see a lot more pitches over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, I think you're going to have. Again, my prediction is they're not going to save as much time as they think they're going to save in these games.
I agree.
You're going to have a lot more runners, a lot more hits, which is going to really slow the game down. Shot clock or no clock. I think time wise, we're going to be at the same. There's not going to be the needle's not going to move in terms of like speeding up the games, which is why I think they're going to reassess some of these rules.
I agree. Well, guys, I think that's a perfect place to cap it off. We will end there. Maybe we'll come back in September. I'll add on Phil Riccobono, and we can do a baseball review and a playoffs preview. I think that would be really great.
Yeah,
you guys
amazing.
love Phil. Phil was the first guest on this podcast, also a returning guest. He was a sports writer living in Japan, covering the Haoshin Tigers, I believe. No, I'm in the other
Remember
guy.
that.
But
you got to find that podcast.
Excellent interview. I'll send you a link. He's a great time. He also wrote a book called Baseball English, which was designed for Japanese players when they come over to America to kind of learn the lingo of like American slang in baseball. And then phenomenal guy, great friend. I actually met him in Las Vegas when I was there covering a conference. That's where he lives now. And I gotta tell you, it was really weird meeting a stranger for my podcast, but it felt like I knew him for years. That's what the power of podcasting does.
That's right. I met Allan on the internet, and I felt the same. Allan and I met on Twitter, and it was
really?
Yeah, it was like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
It's weird how that works, because I have a few fans of my wrestling podcast who I've met in real life, and then when I still have to meet in real life, I get to Toronto, and it's funny how podcasting can do that. And I'm glad, gentlemen, I can consider both of you my friends and returning guests on this podcast.
Likewise.
Thank you.
I appreciate you always.
This is great. Love it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. I'll send you guys all the clips. As always, next week, I am actually speaking to a former retired detective in Canada who also wrote a book on crime books. So we're talking about the policing in Canada versus policing in the U.S., all his books, detectives, what he can tell me. That's going to be a lot of fun. I got a lot of things to say on the police, especially after a few weeks ago when I talked about police timing with Chris Egelbert for a few hours. So that was fun. My name is Will Tarashuk. It's T as in Thomas, Arashuk. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, just like Mike, just like Al, make sure you reach out to me at willapspodcast.com. That's apspodcast.com. Go in the description down below and click that GoFundMe tab. I need funding. I'm just going to say it straight up. I own a business. I have debt, and it's not going anywhere. Mike, thank you very much for your donation last time. Allan,
absolutely welcome.
Thank you for your consideration. I'll be back next week. But I'll see you there. But until then, y'all take care. I love you, Allan. Hope you know that.
I love you too.